What's up? Live from the moon. It's the Squeegee Life podcast, and we are here with Seth Byers, Mark Tanner, and Thad Eckhoff. You guys probably know who Thad is. We've had Thad on before, like maybe once. He's all right.
I've been here before?
Yeah, one other time before you've been here. Yeah, it was probably one of the worst shows we've ever done. But, you know.
So we're going to duplicate that.
We're going to duplicate that. So we're going to come with that same energy this time. We're going to come with the same energy this time. You know, if you guys could, give this a like. Share it around if you guys want. It's on the Squeegee Life page if you follow it. Share it into your groups. Kevin Hargis, what's up? Chris Johnson, what's up? Mike the Glass Guy. Jason Lehman, if you're here and you're in the chat, let us know that you're watching. Because we like to fluff our egos and, you know, stuff like that.
Put up some questions, some interesting commentary.
Yeah.
Commentary.
So, yeah.
I have a question right off the bat.
Go ahead.
Oh, God.
No, this is... that name, Thad Eckhoff, you know, I gotta ask, where does that come from? Because when I hear that name, I think of, like one of these strongest man competition. The guy's gonna run around the block with a fucking telephone pole. Yeah, here's Thad. I'm going to carry the pole.
Yeah, what is the origin of Eckhoff?
Yeah.
Eckhoff is German. It means farm in the oaks. And great-great-grandpa Eckhoff stowed away on a ship when he was 13 and came to the United States and started this whole deal.
Yeah. Okay.
It just sounds like one of those names you'd see on a Iron Man powerlifting competition or something, you know.
Maybe. You've met Thad in person? I know he gave you the dead arm technique, but
yeah.
You don't shake my dead arm.
No touch.
It's quite the height differential.
Man, Thad's a big guy, so you probably could have done the strongman, bro.
Yeah, he's a big dude.
Yeah.
He's a big dude. He looked like he could carry bulks
Glass
around.
Realms, that is the Zero X2 back there.
And I was like, where?
I was standing next to Phil.
Yeah.
Right.
So it was like two tree stumps.
Phil was blocking you. I couldn't see you behind Phil.
They were off to get a ring, and they were going to be back.
That's great.
Oh, God. That's cool. So, Thad, tell us about your company. You have a window cleaning and pressure washing company?
I have right now. It is on hiatus, suspended. Which I normally do during the winter anytime. I don't know what's going to happen this spring. Right now, for my really good clients, I've been referring them out to a couple other trusted companies. So last year, I really did screw this up, and it's been rough. I'm finally getting some relief from it. I'm finally able to kind of use my arm a little bit. But that muscle was separating from the bone there. The tendon was deteriorating. Probably from 15 years of doing this, spraying 2- and 3-story buildings and dragging 200 feet of wire hose around.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, gotcha.
And you do a lot of your work yourself, don't you?
Yeah. It was just me and my son, and then we had some part-time guys for bigger projects. I never cared about growing a bigger company. It was funny when I got to be friends with Chris. He had a monster company.
Right.
He had like 20 trucks on the road, and he was telling me like, you just got to build this self-sustaining machine and just run. I'm like, I don't want to. He's like, no, you don't understand. I'll show you how. And I'm like, I don't want to. You can't make me. I'd have to I'd have to move back to New Orleans. I'd have to live in a bigger area, and I like living in Podunk City and just make it a good living.
You know what though, Thad, you're right about that, because guys that build companies like that, I'm always interested in how did they do it. How much aggravation. They act like they don't have to work. That's not true. Okay. But they don't have to physically go out and do the work most of the time. Mm-hmm. But like I met with a guy that has about 45 employees, and we rode around, and he's like, I'm going to teach you how to scale it up. And I just looked at him and I said, don't be offended when I tell you, I don't want that. That's not what I want. I mean, look, my company's been bigger.
That's fine.
Oh yeah.
But that's not the definition of success.
No,
right.
But my company's been bigger and it's been smaller, and I've made more money and I've made less money.
Mm-hmm.
And quite honestly, I wouldn't want to walk into an office every morning at 7 a.m. wondering who's not going to show up, because that is a huge issue.
Yeah, and there are tiers to that too. And Chris is probably going to get pissed off at me telling his business, but like at the pinnacle of all county, like I would, when I would go up there, and like we were doing PWRA then and different stuff, and I'd go hang out for a week, and just go stay at his house, and I would go to work with him, and that was for 1 hour on Friday. He met with the accountant, and I would just hang out and talk to the girls in the phone room until he caught them not making phone calls and would yell at me. He wouldn't yell at them. He treated his employees really well. He'd yell at me for distracting them. But he's one of the few. I mean, he honestly worked an hour a week because he got past that tier of having an operations manager and other people who they hired, they fired. Well, no, he sometimes he would fire, but they did everything. But that's a tough barrier to break, and you have to be willing to accept a lot less. If you're paying people what they're worth for those positions, then you need to not have that. So,
well,
I didn't want to do it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. We gotta. In the industry ourselves, we gotta realize that not everybody is running the same kind of ship. You know what I mean? So, we actually have a question here. It's a serious question. It says, "What soap to water ratio do professional window cleaners use to make windows streaky?" 90-10. 90% soap, 10% water.
Okay, you got about this much water.
Yeah.
And about that much soap.
Yeah.
You're golden.
I usually do super hot water, and then I start at the one edge of the bucket and go like this, and to the other edge of the bucket. Done. You know what I mean?
A lot of soap, man.
I like a lot of soap. I like it to be super. Everyone's like, dude, aren't you afraid of leaving streaks? I don't leave streaks because I'm a professional window cleaner, and I use ammonia, and I'm probably gonna die at a young age because of it. But my windows are super alert. My windows are super shiny. That's what I do know. I have no slip problems using ammonia.
And they get dirty quickly too. So
yes.
Why would you want that? Why would they stay cleaner longer? We want them to stay cleaner longer. Call me less.
Call me less.
Make less money.
Hey, whatever you do, make sure you call me less.
I don't want it to be super shiny and sticky. No, plain no.
Why would you want that?
Lewis Coatney's watching. Jason Lehman. Did I say Jason Lehman? Big Squeegee. Mike Nichols says 5 squirts from side to side.
We're talking about soap, right, Mike?
Yeah, I think so. I think we're.
I hope so.
Not your bathroom.
Yeah, you know what I got for a while? Sometimes shit gets in your head. So I got one of those bottles that you squeeze it and then it goes into the little chamber. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to put 2 ounces in each one. So I'll put 4 ounces of soap. I'll put a dash of ammonia. And I was like religiously doing this. And then I'm like, after a while, I'm like, what the fuck am I doing? You know what I'm saying? Look. That's all it needs.
You're the most expensive thing you have, which is your soap.
Yeah.
Right? It's just like,
yeah.
You get way in your head. I pour ammonia till I get sick, and then I'm like,
yeah, right. Yeah.
So, never used ammonia, have to say.
Ammonia is like the best thing in the entire universe when it comes to cleaning.
In the world.
I don't care what it's just personal preference. Nothing looks or the windows look so much better with a little bit of ammonia. They're super shiny, in my opinion. And
they are.
That squeegee. You could drag your squeegee across the concrete, and it's still all over the place. It's the best. I don't care. I love it. Yeah.
I defer to your expertise. No doubt about that.
So Thad, what percentage of your business? Not so much revenue-wise, but like, what are you? 50% pressure washing, 50% window cleaning? Are you commercial, residential, or a combination?
It was probably 75-80% like upper end residential.
Okay.
And I actually I kept doing less and less window cleaning. Like I had a pretty big commercial route. I got rid of that, and then I used to do, for residential, I would do in and outs, and I just I dropped the ins. I got tired of everything that went along with that, and started just doing outs only. So I got to the point where window cleaning was pretty much just just doing outs after washing the house, and you didn't get window cleaning if you didn't get a house washed. So I transitioned from just pretty much mostly doing window cleaning to that being a small part, but a really nice profit center, because I mean, how hard is it to water fed pole residential windows after you wash the whole house?
Yeah.
And if there was a streak on, if they didn't pay for the window cleaning, and they're like, oh, there's a little bit of a soap streak.
Right.
Have fun. Call the window cleaner.
Out the ladder up to your third story dormer to fix that. No.
Right.
Yeah. So, and how did you get into this industry?
Stumbled into it. I was in the corporate world, and I was getting burnt out, and so I left early one day. I was in the mortgage business. I'd always been in something related to sales, but I was in the mortgage business, and I left early one day, and then I took the next day off, and then I didn't go back that week, and then I took some vacation time, and then I went on leave, and it's kind of like that movie Office Space. I just realized that I didn't like it. I didn't want to go anymore.
Right.
So I got started. With my own service business. Actually, I was doing like floor stripping and waxing, janitorial, that kind of thing, because I'd done that in high school. Like I would do that all night and then go to class.
Oh, okay.
When I was a kid,
Right.
And so I started doing that, and ended up I was doing that. A buddy of mine had a grass cutting service, and I knew he was hiring, so I forced him to hire me. I was the oldest guy there. I was the only person there. I was 35, and nobody else was over 30, including the owner. God killed me, but it was like spring break, It was just like summer vacation, doing that. Did that for a while, just getting my own thing going, and another friend of mine who had a window cleaning company said, "Hey man, I need some help." I thought he had kind of quit as a midlife crisis type thing. I thought he was nuts. He left a job at a bank to go clean windows. And we were like, oh my God, they're going to end up in the street. They're going to start, got to go to welfare. A couple of years into it, he's like, I need somebody that I can trust with money, come work with me.
Right.
And I ended up working with him, still with the goal of doing my own thing. We had a pretty good arrangement worked out. He would send me on a lot of stuff. So a lot of times I did bids, but I also do like the lower ticket jobs. But I would get there and I would upsell the crap out of them. So I go to a $200 job and turn it into an $800 job.
Yeah.
Well,
get commission on it. Worked pretty good.
My start in the business, in the industry, was relatively the same thing. I'd been building houses and doing home and apartment maintenance for a property management company for about 5 years, and a buddy of mine called me. He's like, hey man, we need help on this job. And there's this new water park in town. And it's was at the time, Kalahari. It used to be the largest in the country or in the world. It's a huge ass water park. And they're like, we need help. And we need somebody that's not scared of heights. And I'm like, all right. So I show up and they're like, we're going to clean windows. I'm like, what? This is funny. Yeah. You know what I mean? Come on, dude. And they're like, no,
we're going to... I left my rag at home.
Yeah,
I'm allergic to Windex.
And John, I don't know, whoever's seen the video that I just put out, John Pruitt, the guy that got me started in window cleaning, he's like, you'll get it real quick. You know what I mean? It's easy. You know what I mean? It wasn't that easy. But that's how that's how it started for me. You know what I mean? Just happenstance. Just kind of ran into it, So you never know where you're going to go unless you go there. You know what I mean?
Here's something that's pretty ironic. I would have probably, I was making pretty good money. And I probably still would have been working there. But one day he's like, hey man, let's go to lunch. I'm like, oh, that's never good. Yeah. And he said that this guy on the internet with a big company told him that he was paying way too much commission, and so he was not going to pay me what he had been paying me anymore.
What was his name? I'm going to teach you how to be successful. You're giving that dude too much money.
It was,
I got some systems.
Some dude named Chris with a big company up in New Jersey. No joke, man.
Nuh-uh.
Absolutely no joke.
Chris did that to you?
He had no idea who I was. I didn't know who he was. He was talking about how people knew he had it. That was when he was just doing all county,
Right.
And he was on like one of the forums. It was before Facebook and all that. It was on a forum, and people knew he was a big deal. And this guy was like, "Hey, I want to be a big deal like you." He's like, "Well, first of all, you got to stop paying those guys that much money." Now, for me, I was selling a lot. I wasn't. He wanted me to sell for technician pay, and that didn't work for me. So that kind of pushed me out of the nest. It worked pretty well. It was kind of rough there at first, but it happened. Yeah, so I finally put it together like later, and when the first time I met Chris was at my New Orleans event. He came down in like
no, not now.
Yeah, 2009. I'm like, you're the guy that got me fired.
I've been. I'm not going to divulge the contents of our conversations, but I've been recently just discovered how fucking cool Diego Garcia is, and we've been voxing back and forth, and he's kind of giving me so much, not so much the 411, but kind of how you guys go back, like all you guys are like been thick as thieves for a long time, man. That's pretty cool.
We all got to know each other and be friends when I was doing those networking events in New Orleans in the French Quarter.
Right.
That goes back over 10. I did 10 of those. And
right.
So that's where I got to be friends with those guys. It's real.
And that's just a friendship that's lasted. It's really crazy. You don't really think, but this little industry of ours it does bring a lot of people from all over the place together. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool, Like Diego, I know who Diego is, with everything that's going on with him, you know what I mean? But getting to know him as a person, he's a cool ass fucking dude, like cooler than the other side of the pillow. That fool is crazy as hell. I love that guy. He's awesome.
Look, I'm not gonna say anything here. But, when I see you in Atlanta and you and Diego are standing together, I got some Diego stories to tell.
Oh, I'm sure they're awesome.
Look, I just one little Easter egg. Next time you talk to Diego, how do you talk to him? Like Voxer or something?
Yeah, we Vox each other. Yeah.
Okay, Diego was the one who introduced me to Voxer.
Right, he told me that.
And that's how I talk to the people that I talk to every day. I talk to them through Voxer, and Diego found that. But next time you Vox Diego, just say White Wedding.
He just said, "I remember Thad and the Clover Grill."
Who said that, Diego?
Yeah.
Diego don't remember the Clover Grill. I remember the Clover Grill. That will be an in-person story.
Right.
I'm looking a later time.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Like I said, he's like I said, when I met Mark and Seth, you know what I mean, in person, you just know, you know what I mean, when you meet a person. I met Diego last year at the huge convention, and you just know when you meet a dude when he's a solid dude. You just know this dude's solid. You know what I mean? This is a solid guy. And
I was talking
legit
to the lady that works for the convention center, like that was my event coordinator or whatever. We were talking, and I see her look over my shoulder, go, "Ooh," and I turn around and look. Here's Diego, and he's coming like this. That's when he had like the big beard, the big thing. And he's coming toward me. He's like, "Oh," and we gotta go. Okay.
Yeah, he was a little intimidating.
Scared the crap out of that.
At the huge last year, he was sitting in the lobby all by himself, and I was walking in, and I was like, "Should I go say something to this fucking wild man?" You know what I mean? Because he's sitting there in the chair chilling. He's got his big ass beard, all his hair, and I'm like, I don't know if I want to go talk to this dude or not. I might get slapped. I'm not sure. I'm like, "What's up, man?" He's like, "What's up, fool?" You know what I mean? He's just a good dude. He's a really good dude. Solid guy.
Yep. He's
solid guy.
I mean, absolute salt of the earth. Just no pretense, anything. Just one of my favorite people.
Yeah, he's a good dude.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So we're all going to the huge convention, all of us here, and we're all bringing our ladies this time. So we're going to be right in line this time.
Slight line.
Yeah. Let's not get out of. Let's not try and church it up too much. I saw Thad for maybe a total of 20 minutes because Thad's like all over the place. You know what I mean? Doing this, doing that. Yeah, he's got to go here. He's got to go there. And then I seen him at the very end of the night walking up the driveway, and he just looked at me like, "Don't talk to me." You know what I mean? Like they just had a really long night. He's like, he just kind of looked at me like, "I got to go to bed." I'm like, "All right."
Yeah, all right, buddy. Like by the time I can relax, it's after it's all over.
Yeah.
Everybody else is like, dude, we've been up all night, every night. We're tired. And I'm like, doesn't it, like no one wants to play? No, man, we're beat, we're burnt. Go have fun.
Yeah, it's it's an undertaking. It's definitely you could tell the amount of energy that's put into it because it kind of runs. From the outside looking in, it runs pretty smooth. Everything was really on point. Everything looked good. There's a lot of people there. Seemed pretty happy with everything. I liked the venue. The venue was super solid. You know, it's a good time, man. It's a good time.
Man, if you like that, Atlanta's the Marriott Marquis is gonna blow your wig off.
That's what everyone's saying, and I'm like, man, I got to get a hotel room before they're all booked, you know, because I want one, I want one of those balconies, you know what I mean? I want one of the, you know what I mean? I'm down.
No, because Branson, there wasn't really any place for everybody to congregate, and It was a bunch of first time attendees that didn't know that what we usually do is all congregate. Like they didn't know, so they were just getting off, small groups and going off all over the place, and there really wasn't a place to do that. But man, in 18 in Atlanta, I was talking about all the people that are coming, everything. I was doing my walkthrough, and my guy there was like, "Hold on, stop. How many people?" And they're gonna be, He said, "I got to meet back with you in 30 minutes." And he had to put triple shifts on the bars because there's 3 bars and restaurants like in a triangle on that floor, and there were just hundreds and hundreds
of window cleaners and pressure washers everywhere.
You could leave and eat, or you could just order food right there. Right. But everybody was oh my god.
We did a bunch of hanging out. The 2 nights that we hung out in the little downstairs nook bar at the bottom there. We had a good time. We had a table for all of us YouTube guys hung out with Alex and Chris. We had a pretty good time, man. It was.
Yeah, I wasn't invited to that. They didn't tell me about that.
You guys were gone. Like you and the group of dudes that you were rolling with were hard body karate. You guys were gone. And then, like at the very end of the night, I see the group of you guys coming back, and you just gave me that look like I gotta go to you, and then you were like, I gotta go to bed.
Anyway,
you think I should go to bed?
Just plan on for Atlanta. It's just really cool because, and it's nice because like. It's a 42-story open atrium. Mm-hmm. And from the other levels of the atrium, like you can see into there's 3 levels of like common area or open area, and you can see all into it. So like you can go up to that 3rd level and like see who's where. So there's going to be like hundreds of people right by the bar, but then there might be like 5 people. Like there's different seating areas all over the place. So there'd be like 2 chairs over in the corner, or a table with 3 couches. You know what I mean? Like you can do different size groups and kind of break off. But everybody's just going to be in and out right there, meeting up and going on. You're going to like it. It's fun. I haven't found a better venue. I hate that we've outgrown it, but we've outgrown it. I don't know what I'm going to do to find anything even close to that good again.
How many of these huge conventions has there been? What number is this?
8, I guess.
Yeah.
Let's see. I did 2 at the Gaylord, 2 at the Gaylord Opryland, 2 at the Gaylord National, then New Orleans, then Atlanta, and then Branson, and then back in Atlanta. Yeah, this is 8.
Wow. Do you feel it's in the industry standard now? Do you feel like it's the? I mean, are you going to brag about it here or no? Do you feel like it's the best?
I mean, you told me we weren't even going to talk about it, but I mean,
Thad.
No, we're not.
This isn't the Joe Blows show. We lie.
Yeah.
All right.
I seen you shouted us out on there.
Yep.
Joe asked you the tough questions, and he got the tough answers.
Speaking of which, just to pause for a second, I would like to know exactly how much you make on this podcast, and also what your gross and net revenue are on your personal businesses. And
All right, I will tell you
until I get those numbers.
I will tell you. As of right now, with the Patreon subscriptions, right now I'm negative $30 on this podcast. Negative $30 a month. That's what I make right now.
But no, yeah. I mean, what else?
Yeah,
it does seem to be the biggest event in a year.
Yeah,
I mean,
what's up, Joe? Joe said, "I am watching." We know.
Biggest is one thing. The reason that it became the biggest is because it was the best. Because
not only that, you're combining both. You know what I mean? You've got
that
window cleaning and pressure washing under the same roof. You know what I mean? And that kind of, I mean, even though it's window cleaners versus everybody, you know, you're bringing it all together, so it's a big melting pot of people, and that's what's cool about it. You know what I mean? I don't want to talk about it a lot because you've done Joe's show, you just did fucking Bobby's show today, and then you come on this podcast and you're just regurgitating.
Oh, I gotta wrap up in about 10 minutes because I gotta get on another show here.
You got another show after this.
Where the fuck are you going next, Ellen?
Yeah.
The View.
The View?
Yeah.
That doesn't surprise me a bit.
But yeah, it is window cleaners and pressure washers, but man, I don't know if you can hear the train. Right by the train track.
Yeah, I can hear it.
Beautiful. You know what? I live about, I don't know, maybe a quarter mile from a set of train tracks. I don't even notice it anymore. Like, I'll have people over, we'll be watching the fights, like, man, that fucking train. I'm like, what train? Like, I don't hear it, you know? So
I don't live, I'm at the office, but anyway,
right.
So yeah,
that's like, listen, I'm high class and I don't live next to train tracks. So don't get the wrong impression. I don't live near the train tracks.
I gotta walk 10 miles to find a train track. I was about the sticks, man.
Right.
Like way in the sticks. Y'all were complaining the other day because we were trying to box and the chickens kept screaming in the background.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, train tracks are uptown from where I am.
How much property do you have?
Oh, me personally?
Yeah.
Not much, but I'm right in the middle of a gigantic piece of property that I have access to. So I got the best of both worlds.
Nice, man. That's nice.
Right now. Yeah, I live in the middle of a big
how big is your
plantation,
house? How many square feet? And how many cars do you own?
What are the taxes you have?
What are the taxes on your home?
I'm going to have the tax records here.
So do you, are you a big, I'm done talking about the huge convention. Are you like a big hunter, fisherman type of guy? You like an outdoorsy type? Is that you or?
Yeah, I like that stuff.
Right.
Yeah, big time.
I used to be a big time into fishing, but when you live right next to the lake and you can walk down and do it your entire childhood, you kind of get wore out on it. You know what I mean? But my son, I want to get my son into fishing. You know what I mean? I think he'll dig it.
Hey, it's better than video games.
Yeah, it is. But he's a monster at video games. But that's kids nowadays, though. They're all doing it.
What they're all doing.
Yeah, they're all doing it. I don't know.
Yeah, but then, is he going to be one of those dudes making $1 million a month by having people watch him play video games?
That's what he wants to do.
I'm not saying it's impossible.
That's what he wants to do. He's like, I want to start a YouTube channel and game on it.
That's what I want to do.
And I'm like, okay. And he's like, but I gotta wait. I'm like, well, you gotta wait for what? He goes, because I'm a noob and I'm not good, so I want to make sure that I'm good before I do it. Like he's like understands. He's like, listen, I got to get good before I do this. I can't suck and go online. I'm like, all right, bro. Yeah, he's an interesting little guy.
Or he could, just do lots of fart and dick jokes while
right.
he's playing.
Right.
Well, that's in him already.
Yeah, that's already in him.
Sooner or later,
that's already in him.
Recipe there.
Yeah, if you ever met my father or the rest of my family, it's built in. That's like genetically imprinted.
Trust me, that boy's been getting lessons since he could hear.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's true.
Nice.
So you
go ahead.
You hunt and fish and
yeah,
and your boys. You said you got a son, right? He works with you.
I got 2 sons, and they don't really care about it.
Yeah.
They're city kids, and even though we live out in the woods now, they're just not really into it.
Isn't that, like I have the same thing with my older son. I remember when he was 4 years old, I put one of the trucks up on stands to change the oil or whatever, and I'd be laying under there and I feel something. I look down and he's climbing under there with me, and I'm, explaining to him what I'm doing. Mm-hmm. And then my older one actually went to at his high school. They have a shop class that blew the water out of my vocational class. I mean, they got post lifts in there. I mean, it's just amazing. But so I go in there to meet the teacher. I go in there to meet the teacher, and I'm like, hey, where's the picture of the exploded view of the Briggs & Stratton motor? Where's the 4-cycle engine taken apart here? Well, we don't teach that. So they teach them to be parts changers. And I guess that's the way mechanics are now. Plug a laptop in there.
You got to be a certified parts changer.
Yeah. And so that they don't know the theory of anything. And eventually...
Hey, Joe, don't be fucking talking shit in the comments, Joe. I don't get on there and being like, you don't ever let Lewis talk. You know what I mean? You didn't even let fucking Thad talk. You were talking so fucking much, Joe.
Yeah, I was wondering if Lewis had strep throat on the last.
It's your show should be called Joe and the Curtains, because that's all it's fucking talking.
All right, well, I can't see the comments, so I'm staying out of that one.
Yeah, well. Mark, what
Lewis has got to change his name to Lewis the Unopinionated and Silent Window Cleaner.
Yeah,
I think Lewis has a lot to offer. He came on our podcast. Mm-hmm. He's got a lot to offer. You just got to get him out of his shell or allow him to.
Or Joe, just shut up for a minute.
Yeah. That's the most important part of the whole thing.
Hey, listen. I can't say shit because I'm always talking. So I'm always the one talking shit. And if you guys are watching this, Joe and Lewis do a podcast on Saturday night on the Joe Knows Joe. What is it called?
Joe Blows?
Joe's page. Every Saturday night they do it. Most likely what you'll see on their show is probably what we did on Wednesday. So I like messing with Joe.
Going on there Saturday.
Yeah, dude.
Before I came on here was kind of a big deal.
Controversial, man. Very controversial, dude. Fucking Joe.
I'm just glad that y'all unbanned me. But, he asked before you did.
Right, yeah. Well, you know what? I seen you today on Bobby's show, the JNE show. JNE podcast, I think that is Journey of a New Entrepreneur, JNE, right? Yeah, I seen you guys on there. I seen you on there, and I was like, this fucking guy's making the rounds, man. He's getting after it. You know what I mean? Yeah. One less prong rip, and he'll be good. He says.
Yeah, trying to get it all out of the way. And fortunately, in some of those shows, I don't really have to say anything. I just have to go.
Right. Yeah. Well, Joe and Lewis, they do a podcast on Saturday night. It's entertaining. Joseph needs to
start talking crap about that other podcast that he's not involved in.
Oh yeah, that's the best part. Yeah, he is he's a scolded fucking dog right now, boy. Which I can't say that I blame him. You know what I mean? That's a very rough way
to watch that podcast right there, and I'm just like, I was dying.
Talk about. Joe does a lot of washing. There's a lot of washing going on in the Carolinas. A lot of washing,
pressure washing,
cleaner, window washing. Come out, wash your windows and wash your house.
I feel bad. I'm like, I'm from South Mississippi. Like, it's hard to get any more south than I am south, and I have to listen. Like, I have to really stop and concentrate and listen to Joe. I'm like, okay, and
well, even his customers, customers wanted him.
Again.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, his customers wanted him to do the same washing, and they was wanting a bunch of washing done. You know what I mean?
Oh, where Joe lives is some country country shit. I grew up in Georgia, and that's not even fucking close.
It's dark, boy. Why are you out tonight? Yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of industry podcasts popping up. You know what I mean? It's Gurus
and podcasts, man.
It's really
and coaches. Oh my God.
Well, I would just like to say that we are 136 episodes of doing podcasts. We'd be well over 200 right now if we used to do them 2 times a week like we used to. We're OGs at this, you know what I mean? So I can appreciate the vigor of other guys wanting to do shows, especially if Bobby's got a good personality. I think Bobby's really well suited to doing a show. I mean, that personally. Joe, of course, does a live video every 20 to 30 minutes, so of course he's going to be good at it. You know what I mean? Longevity, the longevity. Yeah, the longevity is where that's where you separate the men's from the boys, in my opinion. Like if you can keep it up more, that's the real key, to me anyway. So it's tough doing this. You know what I mean? There's dead spots all over this podcast now, you know what I mean?
Well, like we've always said, we don't, TJ and I talk throughout the week, and it's like, okay, maybe occasionally we'll figure out something that we're going to introduce on the podcast. Yeah. Sometimes I spring it on him, or he's doing something, I'm like, what the hell is he doing now? Yeah. But we let it go organically, and to be able to spend 2 hours, we were doing them twice a week for a while, but to do 2 hours and still have it interesting enough where people are showing up to hear it, that's the achievement in my opinion.
Oh yeah, you guys were adamant about that. I'm like, any kind of prep or bullet points, you're like, we don't do that.
Yeah. No. Yeah, we don't do that. This is completely. Yeah, we get on like maybe 15 minutes beforehand and we shoot from the hip, and I feel like that's what we don't do the. I mean, although the podcast is window cleaning related and industry related, even some pressure washers come on and stuff like that, we talk about that. I feel like what we do is a little bit different because we're doing it's just shop talk. It's just guys on the glass. Like we wanted it to be like something where me and Mark are cleaning windows together, and the conversations that we'd have while we're at work.
Cleaning windows while you're cleaning windows. You're
exactly.
Talk about everything except you're going to be some window cleaners talking about everything else.
Yeah,
in the world.
Yeah. So, I really feel like there's guys like, of course, Bobby that can teach you how to be an entrepreneur and teach you how to be successful and da-da-da-da-da. And then there's guys like Jersey that can tell you all the ins and outs of the business and tell you about the good products. And that's what they do, and this is what we do. So I know a lot of people are like, man, I don't know if I want to go on that show because they're always, you know what I mean? And but that's that's us. You know what I mean? When you meet me at the huge convention, and I know there's a lot of guys that met me in there were like, Luke and Steve-O, and I go, you're that guy all the time. You know what I mean? And I feel like that's the best way to be. Mark's this guy all the time. Seth is that guy all the time. You know what I mean? You're gonna get what you get.
Joe, one thing I was saying, Joe had a blast on Facebook today talking about something like, if it's not who you are, it's what other people think you are. But honestly, people that I work for, building managers, property managers, would probably have a heart attack if they knew what comes out of my mouth a lot of times. You know what I'm saying? I mean, because there's a time for that. I don't act that way, obviously, to build a successful business, you can't be that way.
Well, they don't act when they're dealing with you. They don't act the way that they do,
right?
In their homes or with their friends either.
Yeah,
you would probably be horrified, or at least a little shocked.
Well, I could tell you this:
being human. It's not being fake. It's just there are different aspects of our personality at different times when it's appropriate or not appropriate.
Right. I don't. To me, like I do. I mean, as rough around the edges as I am on here and on YouTube, I am. For the most part, I'm slightly reserved. You know what I mean, as far as business goes. But my customers that I've had for a lot of years, we have these kind of interactions. Like the cleaning lady at the Applebee's, me and her are always busting each other's chops. You know what I'm saying? Or the manager over at McDonald's, she's always giving me the shit. You know what I mean? Like, God, about damn time you got here and clean these fucking windows. You know what I mean? But I'm a yes sir, no ma'am type of kid. That's the way I was brought up. You know what I mean? That's I was raised by Depression era grandparents, so I got my manners. You know what I mean? I know how to act in public. I'm not a complete Neanderthal, but I try, you know what I mean? I try, but I try to keep it 100 all the time. That's my main thing in life, is try to just be as honest and genuine as possible. And I feel like, if you do that, you not only will you be successful in life, but you'll also be happy. You know what I mean?
I agree.
So,
you're not going to have the same conversation with your grandma that you're going to have with your cousin.
Exactly. I
agree with that. Being who you are is one of the most genuine things that you can be. Like you just got to know who you are and stay in that lane, and don't try to change for anybody. I mean, obviously you got to watch your mouth here and there, but who you are is is going to show through.
What else do you have?
Yeah, that's it, really.
What's up, Kaz Nucha?
This industry can be monotonous. Cleaning windows all day, or pressure washing all day, or it can be monotonous. I like to work by myself, rather than with the guys. And it's not that I don't want their company, but I've gotten into this rut where I'm going to do what I'm going to do, and no one's going to tell me where I'm going to start, where I'm going to finish. Right. I'm going to put my headphones in. I'm going to listen to something while I'm working and get in my zone, say hello to people as they approach me, in office buildings or car dealerships or whatever. And I like that, because I'm not answering. Even though I own the company, I'm not answering to anybody at all. You know what I'm saying? I'm coming and going as I please. Like we did, I don't do a lot of residential. We did a house a month ago, and there was 3 of us there. My guys were finishing up on the inside. I was loading the truck and getting stuff done on the outside, and we left. And about a half hour later, the homeowner called, and she said, I'm kind of disappointed. I'm like, well, what's the deal? What do you need? Well, the guys didn't even say goodbye. They just left. And I'm like, because unfortunately, that's what we're used to doing. You know what I'm saying? Right. Like TJ, you wash your Wendy's, you say hello to the manager, you do your job. She's doing her thing, you're doing your thing. You're not going to go out of your way to say goodbye. You know what I'm saying? Or, if you see her on the way out, see you next week, or see you in 2 weeks, whatever it is. But, I mean, and that's just the rut that we've all gotten into, is the freedom of doing it the way you do it.
Well, it's a hermit lifestyle for sure. You know what I mean? It's one of those things, like, I was talking to Diego the other day about just that. You know what I mean? I want to go do my thing, and I want to go home. I'm at a point in my career now where I just want to get it done and get home. I don't want to do all the extra fucking, hee ha and ho. I'm not one of those people that I'm quiet and a douchebag all the time, but if I want to get in, do my thing, and get the fuck out. You know what I mean? I'm not trying to.
Right.
You know what I mean? I just can't do it. I just can't. I cannot do it. See you later. You know what I mean? I don't want to. Yeah. I don't like pressing the flesh. I mean, do you think, coming from a sales type background, do you think that helped you in your business, Thad? Selling yourself? Or is that something that you had naturally? You know what I mean? Like you're just a salesman from jump.
No. People that say either you're a salesman or you're not are either ignorant or lying, because you can definitely be taught.
Yeah.
You can be taught how to sell, because I'm naturally very introverted, extreme introvert. But I learned how to sell, and I learned how to perform. Being in get on stage with bands and stuff like that, you learn how to do that, and you kind of create this other persona, So if you see me and I'm like Mr. Big Smile and grip and grin, it's not me being fake. It's me trying to maybe show some respect or be sociable when it's required to be sociable. But I'd much rather. I would much rather sit in my room by myself and just kind of prepare for the next day. And that's what we did for a long time. I mean, it wasn't until Atlanta that Chris and I talked about, because that's what we would both do. And then people were like, "Oh, well, you're snobs. Oh, you're stuck up." No, we're just very introverted people. And we said, "Man, we got to start showing some appreciation." So
well, I can tell you, I went to dinner with Chris and Luke and Steve-O and Mike the Glass Guy and Seth. We all sat down, and we were with Chris for how long? I mean, like 3-4 hours, and I think maybe he said a handful of sentences. You know what I mean? He's a reserved guy. You actually hear more out of Chris during his live streams on Facebook than you will anywhere else. I'm not, and there's nothing wrong with that, because Jennifer, like Mark knows, and Mark spent a lot of time with Jen. I mean, And so did Richie. Jennifer's a reserved person too. She don't say a whole lot either. She's kind of like, you know, a sponge, you know what I mean? And when she says something, it's meaningful, you know what I mean? Not like some people like me, like I'll just say shit to say shit. You know what I mean? Because like, why is it quiet in here?
Yeah, but you know what? Yeah, but see, like TJ, you and I can ride around in the truck and have good conversation. There's very little times where we're not saying anything, at least thus far. But like, I know people that we go to camp, and I'm like, the fucking guy doesn't shut up, and it's like he's telling me a story that really has no ending, no punchline, no nothing. It doesn't change anything. Shut the fuck up. People just talk. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's as soon as I say that's wild, I haven't.
I'll tell you a funny story because I've never taken a class on sales. I've never sat through any of the convention things where they teach you how to sell. I definitely am not a hardline sale because with someone that if you came to me and you're going to clean my roof, my driveway, my windows, my house for $99. And if you pressure me, I don't give a shit how cheap it is. I ain't signing up. You know what I'm saying? I do not like that. But I have.
Nobody does.
I picked up a burger joint in a strip mall, and I'm like, there's a lot of work to be had in this mall because most of the windows are dirty. And I was just there yesterday, and for the last 3 weeks, I've gone and cleaned my burger. I got the burger joint, and I got an art studio and a hair salon. But there's like 10 other accounts that I know I could swing some of them. And there's a guy in there that for some reason, you know, he's just got an open bay and a couple ovens and he's making bread and you can smell it. And it's mostly wholesale, you know, because you see the truck going in and out delivering to the pizza restaurants and whatnot.
Right.
So I make it a point to walk by his place. I park in an area that I have to walk by his place with my window cleaning equipment and I just wave to him because he's there at 7 a.m. And like it took about a month, and finally he comes out and he goes, "What exactly are you doing?" I go, "I clean windows in here," and he goes, "Why aren't you cleaning my windows?" Now he's sold. Now it does not matter because he came to me and I said, "Well, you're running a business that looks to be wholesale. You're not relying on walk-in traffic." I said, "But you know what? If you want the windows done, it's $20 a shot. How about that?" And he goes, "I'll throw in a loaf of bread." And I'm like, "You got it." You know what I'm saying? Oh, dude, it's
you've talked about that bread before. Like you can't even get it to the truck without eating it.
That motherfucker didn't make it around the block.
You know, I've gotten a couple of jobs that same way. You know what I mean? And maybe it was happenstance, but it never really dawned on me that I was walking past this place all the time, my window cleaning stuff, and a guy came out. He's like, "You cleaning windows?" And I'm like, I said, "No, I'm breaking them." And he's like, "Well, will you come over and break mine as soon as you're done with those?" And I'm like, "Yeah, sure." Boom, just like that. You know what I mean? You know, just like that. That's how it goes. You know, eventually they'll want to know why.
Go ahead, Seth.
Oh, I'm mostly residential, so my experiences with doing estimates and stuff is someone's found me, they called me, and I would say most of the time they just want to hear themselves talk. They just, I would say 2 minutes of the estimate is really what I'm going to do for them. The other 10 minutes is, I'm having family over. My daughter just graduated high school. And I'm like, "Oh, that's awesome. Where does she go?" And you just let them go.
Right.
And then they've sold themselves before you even leave the house.
Yeah.
Right.
The one thing I've learned is watching people sell, and the way I've changed it is you've got to be a good listener. Okay. I picked up a really nice restaurant and she says, come look at the account and see what we can do with it. And I walked up, I looked at it and I said, "Okay, what are you expecting out of your window cleaner? What is it that you want?" She goes, "Well, I think it should be done weekly, right?" And I'm like, "Yeah, it's a high-end restaurant." I said, "You're going to have a lot of traffic here. It's in a very nice area." I said, "So we could probably go weekly." You know, I said, "We can squeeze it down. We can do the tops twice a month. We can do the bottoms every week." You know, I said, "I could put you on a maintenance where we come in and make sure everything looks perfect every time," which means we're not going to do everything every time. But once you get comfortable and you rely on me to do my maintenance, you'll be happy because you'll be saving money. And then we can always add more. You know, if we jump in with both feet and do the tops and the bottoms and everything, that's going to cost a lot of money.
Right.
So how about we do it for this much, and then we can always add more. Because if we overdo it, you're going to pay a lot of money, and you're always going to be clean, but at the same time, you might be always clean for less. And instead of ramming it down their throat, just listen to what they have to say, and you're going to get them every time, or most of the time.
Right.
Most of the time. Yeah, I don't know. My sales strategy is be the sulking guy in the corner, like, man, you guys didn't call me, man. I'm just waiting for him to call me.
Yeah.
But I've got to change that. You know what I mean? Because it's worked for the most part, but it really hasn't been as effective as I thought it would. As I thought it was. Now I'm gonna have to start selling myself, which I don't think will be a problem because I got the gift of bullshit. So I should be able to do that relatively easily. I'm probably going to get a bunch of rejections, but I feel like I'll be able to close some deals out. Like this guy right next to, I do this bank of storefronts on a corner of this building downtown, and there's seagulls everywhere. It's like 200 yards from the waterfront, you know what I mean? So there's bird shit everywhere. The sidewalks, the awnings, the windows, it's everywhere. So I'll service all these locations, and this one guy turned me down, you know what I mean? And it's only, it's a window and a door, you know what I mean? And I was like, I'll do it for $15. You know what I'm saying? He's like, no, I don't want to. Nah, that's, I'm like, all right, cool. So, like, everyone else's windows is looking great, and now he's like, you know what, just this last week, he's, you know what, I think I'm going to have you do my windows. I was like, are you sure? And he's like, yeah, just do them. I was like, all right, so I did them. You know what I mean? When everyone else is, I try one time, and if it don't work, you know what I mean, whatever, it's cool, but, you're the guy with the bird shit windows, not the guy next door.
Let me give you a little, back it up, because you have the same issue as I do. You start to feel it, like I bought a business from a guy, I've told this story, that, he went into this blood processing place, and I'm like, he's like, I went back in there the other day, and I go, yeah.
That's Seth's favorite movie, Blood Bank.
Yeah. The guy says to me, you're going to give me the same pitch you did last week. I told you no. And I go, so how many times do you get rejected? How many times do you go back? And he goes, until they tell me don't come back. I'm the opposite. But here's the thing. Like with that restaurant I picked up, I went in there, I solicited her. I said, why don't you just give me an email address? I'll send you a proposal. Now, you're not going to really write proposals on $10, $15 cleanings most of the time. But if it's a job of some substance, say, give me your email address. I'll send you a couple options. Tell me what you think of it. You don't have to go back and face them again. Like that lady, 2 to 3 weeks later, I sent her another email. Hey, just checking in with you, making sure you got my window cleaning proposal. Let me know if there's anything I could do for you because I know you're getting ready to open. And she immediately, within 10 minutes, emailed back and said, thanks for reaching out. We're going to go with your company. Can you stop by and we'll just finalize everything? Done. I didn't have to walk back in, spend my time, park in a meter, walk up to the restaurant. I sent her an email. I had it on my phone and locked the job right then.
Well, that's what I did I spoke to you at the dog pound. No, I spoke to you the other day about the, I picked up that whole shopping center, you know what I mean, the whole strip mall, and I sent him, he stopped me while I was cleaning windows. I was shooting a YouTube video. He's like, hey, do you clean windows? And I'm like, no. But I hate that when I'm cleaning the window.
Everybody but yours, lady.
Yeah. Well, he's like, I was like, yes, I clean windows. He's like, you ever go to so-and-so? And I'm like, yeah, I'm down out that way, occasionally. And he's like, you stop by and give me a bid. So I was like, he gave me his card. I gave him my card. I went, had a look, sent him an email. And I didn't talk to him for 2 weeks. And then I just called him, 2 days ago. And I was like, hey, did you get my code? He's like, yeah, I got my code. I'm sorry. Super busy. I forwarded that on to financials. And we'll see what goes. And I was like, that's cool. He's like, I wish I could tell you. I was like, no, listen. I just wanted to make sure that you got the email. Whenever you're ready, give me a call. I'll be here. And when you want them done, I'll go do them. High pressure sales, is really tough. Like, Joe, not to pick on Joe tonight. Well, fuck Joe. We'll pick on Joe tonight. Yeah, a little late for that. No, but like Joe Collin, you know what I mean? To me personally, and Seth said this himself last time, I just like to do a card, just a reminder, you know what I mean? Really low pressure, you know what I mean? I know that, like you said, it's annoying, and like Thad says, nobody likes it when you get calls, it's like, man, why are you fucking calling me, bro? I mean, I just send them a postcard and be like, hey, your service is ready. Every spring, same time every year, I send my cards out, and all of my repeat.
Hey, Miss Jimmy. Joe, what's going on, man?
What's going on, man?
Listen.
Hey, Bubba.
Hey, Bubba. Hey, Bubba.
Look, that's what
my lady customers, I like to say, how you doing, sweet britches?
Hi.
That kind of later.
So I got this service I'm willing to offer. I'll babysit your wife while you're at the huge convention.
I wanted to reach out to you.
You know, the thing is, if that's what, I don't know if that's the norm, that process of calling people like that. If it is, I'll never be a residential window cleaner. I will not do that.
Listen, and Seth can tell you this, man. Residential window cleaning is they call you, visit the website, or shoot you an email. You go bid it, and then it's a bunch of bullshit afterwards. After you've bid it and after you've gotten the job is when all the bullshit starts. It's after you've bid it and clean, like you're halfway through the windows or getting ready to clean the windows. That's when the bullshit starts. It's not beforehand. It's afterwards. After you've gotten the job.
You have the customer.
Yeah,
Once you have the customer. I get customers who get upset. They're like, you didn't call me in March to book me in June.
Yeah.
Like, I have to do it. Like, I have to. Because they'll be like, well, how have you been? It's mostly like you build in residential. And I'm sure it's the same in commercial, too. It's like you build these relationships with these people, and for them that's mostly what it is, and they're like, they want to talk about their grandkids, they want to talk about this shit, and they want to talk
a lot more for residential than commercial, because you're actually going into
someone's home.
Yeah.
They gotta feel real
super comfortable.
Like for that to be okay with them, they need to convince themselves that they are super comfortable with you, that you're almost like family, that y'all care about each other.
Yeah.
I've got customers that I've had for years that I know where the spare key is. I know the code to the alarm system. They're like, yeah, just go over and do the windows for me and lock back up when you're done. You know what I mean? But that's a relationship.
I'll leave a blank check on the counter.
Yeah. 90% of the time, the check is stuck to the refrigerator.
Listen to this, Thad. I had an account when I first started. I was actually working for my dad, and I used to do a lot of side residential to make my rent, you know. And I was living in Coral Springs, and this lady calls, and she says, can you come give me a price on the windows? I went to the house. She wasn't there. I left a note on the door, you know, call me. She calls me up. I said, you know, it's going to be $150 a cleaning or whatever, in and out. You know, I'll wipe the screens down. She says, okay, you got the job. I said, okay, I'll be there next Saturday. I get there Saturday. There's a note on the door. I had to go out for the day. The key, and she left the key. She called me actually and said left the key under the mat. So I washed the outside. It was such an easy job. I didn't need to take the bucket out of the truck. You know, it's like a one-story walk around ranch style home. I walk inside, the check's on the table. I leave her a thank you and a receipt. And the next month I go to do it, and it's the same thing. I'm literally washed this house once a month and didn't meet the woman for 7 months. I'm not kidding, right? And the one day I met her, I said, I got to ask you something. I go, you obviously like your windows to be cleaned because you're doing it every month, whether it needs it or not. And you leave me the check. You never met me. I go, even when I proposed, you know, the price, I said, I got to ask, was there someone else here before me? She said, yeah, it was such and such, which is a strictly resident. I knew the company, strictly residential. I go, well, what happened with them? She goes, I had the same deal with them. I came home one day. They were sitting on my couch, eating potato chips, drinking my husband's beer, and watching TV. And so I fired them. And I go, I'm going to be honest with you. If I spend 45 minutes to an hour here, and you're happy with everything, I'm happy with everything. No offense, you're a nice person. I'm not hanging out in your house and watching TV. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Right. No. I've got a lady that fucking when I do her house on the island, you know, she's one of those, you know, the code to the house. You know what I mean? I get in the house.
Yep.
She's left a sandwich for me, wrapped up in the Yeah, she's like, there's a sandwich in the refrigerator for you. She's the sweetest lady ever, dude. Got more money than God. You know what I mean? She like, every time I go over there, she's like, you might as well just stop at my house and do the windows. Every time.
Yeah.
Every time. Every time. She's like, whenever you're over, just do the windows. I'm like, you sure? She's like, yeah, anytime. She goes, I'll call you and let you know when I want you to do the inside. She goes, but just when you come over, just do. And I'm like, it doesn't matter. I was like, what if I come over, the following week? She's like, just do them. I'm like, all right, man.
You can't. I'm not going to fight with that.
Yeah, I'm not going to fight with you on that. She's the awesomest lady ever. Awesome.
And you probably go there and go, if I had 15 more like this, life would be so easy.
Right.
How you like it? Yeah. I got a 55 plus community that I got from this one lady, this little lady called Carol. And every year that I come and do it, Carol makes me come at 7:30 instead of 8. And she makes all of us guys breakfast. And then with the leftover bread, she makes bread pudding. And if I leave that complex without getting bread pudding, a 3'8" Italian lady comes out and yells at me.
That's great,
she's
dude.
The sweetest lady ever. She's awesome, but you wish you had a million customers like that.
Italian people are awesome, man. Like I used to do. I got hired when I was.
Italians can be all right. Yeah.
Well, listen, I got hired by this old Italian guy. I don't know. I was like maybe 19 or 20 years old. He hires me because I've got a lot of plumbing experience. My grandfather's a journeyman plumber, and I did a lot of plumbing work. I could probably have passed the journeyman plumber's exam and been a journeyman plumber. But I mean, that's what I did from the time I was old enough to turn a wrench relatively good. You know what I mean? Because my grandfather always had some troubles with his blood pressure or his heart. You know what I mean? So, ate too much sausage and bacon, and he ended up taking blood thinners the blood thinners made his eyes bleed, and he had very, very bad eyesight for a long time. So as soon as I was old enough and able to work, he put me to work because I was his eyes. You know what I mean? So, I get hired by this... I get hired by this old Italian guy to do plumbing work for him in all these hotels. And what I ended up doing was driving him around in a Lincoln Town Car, 10 miles over the speed limit everywhere we went, because he insisted on it, and made meatballs. That's what I did. I did not twist a wrench in almost a year. All I did was drive him around, and we made meatballs, and we made that's where my meatloaf my meatball recipe came from, was from him. You know what I mean? That my homemade meatballs, I learned that from him. Beef stew. I learned that he liked to drop stuff on the floor and throw it back in the frying pan because the heat will kill it. I would never eat at his restaurants after that. I was like, dude, so you drop the food on the floor and put it back in the pan? What the fuck, bro?
When I worked for my dad, I noticed when Thad said most of them are nice. We had an Italian restaurant, a pizza joint, and my father used to say, the guy's not going to like you because we're not Italian, but just wash his windows, we're going to take his money. And every week I would walk in to clean his inside, and he'd be, they'd be getting ready for lunch. I'd be there at 10:30. They open at 11, and he'd go, there he is, the shittiest window cleaner around. He would yell that, he would fucking yell that, right? And so one time he said it, and I was just having a bad day, and I stopped what I was doing, and I turned around to him, and I said, I was like 25 years old, and I was a lot. I mean, I was fucking. Most people didn't say shit to me, even though I'm short. People it's my meeting. I'm the guy. Unless we're friends,
right?
You can say what you want to your friend. So I put my shit down, and I looked at him. I said, you know what, man? I said, sometimes I feel like dragging your fucking old ass over that counter and eating the fuck out of you. And he starts laughing, right? So about 6 months later, I'm in there. I bring my family there, right, to eat.
Yeah.
And I walk in, and the place is crowded, and he goes, oh, there he is, the shittiest window cleaner in the town or something. And I go, motherfucker, I'm here to spend money and eat in your fucking place. I said, I'm going to pull you over that fucking counter in a minute. And he saw I was fucking pissed. I walked out. My dad goes, I guess you can't clean pizza time anymore. He called and complained. I go, he said you threatened him. I said, I'm fucking done with that dude.
Dude, I've been doing this dealership since 2005. And John had it for 2 years before that. And the guy that owns the place, when I walk in there, dude, he berates me. Like, oh, you're going to take my fucking money again? He threw his wallet at me. He's standing there in the morning, took his wallet out of his back pocket and threw it and tossed it and hit me in the chest. I picked that fucker up and walked out the fucking. He was following right behind me. He's like, "Where are you going?" I was like, "You gave it to me. I'm leaving."
Yeah.
I was like, "You want me to take what you want me out of here now?" You know what I mean? So I get that. I get that, but I'm playful. So to me, you know what I mean. I would have just rolled with that. You know what I mean? But Mark's a fucking little baby.
Dude, let me tell you something. You show up every single week.
You have to put up with stuff.
Yeah,
like that.
I worked for my dad, but it was pretty much, I did work for my dad, but it got to a point where it just got, it's just like someone telling you missed a spot. I mean, how many times do you want to hear that? But it was the same guy in front of his prep cooks, 3 or 4 other fucking guineas, and he's just fucking gonna berate me every time I walk up the place. I'm like, dude, I'm gonna stuff you in that fucking oven.
I'm sorry, we prefer WAP.
Yeah, dude. What? I mean, if you're gonna be racially insensitive, Jesus. Yeah, dude. I guess different. That's one thing right there. You could tell like certain ethnicities. You know what I mean? You could tell when somebody's Italian. They'll let you know. You know what I mean? Like they're either very, very nice or complete assholes. It's one of the two.
Yeah.
Where did Seth go? Seth is a scrub, dude.
There you go.
I think
my camera froze.
I think Joe is right. I think Seth might not be a good addition to the podcast.
I heard that Seth and Lewis were gonna break off and do their own show.
Yeah, it's gonna be each other. Yeah, I've already got the title for it. It's All Quiet with Seth and Lewis.
Yeah, silent movie.
Quiet time with Seth and Lewis.
It's gonna be All Quiet with Seth and Lewis. What are you guys talking about? Yeah. Not a lot.
Lewis looks like he has a reason for being quiet.
Yeah.
Two fucking mimes sitting there together. Oh God! So, Thad, what's the future for your window cleaning and pressure cleaning company? You're gonna build it? You're gonna just, it sounds like you quieted down for the winter and getting ready to start back up.
Yeah, and like I said, the whole arm thing, the tendon thing, really kind of.
Has that got you reevaluating stuff?
Yeah, because I'd been toying with the idea of just not doing it anymore, selling it, whatever. And then that decision was taken away from me. I've been going to physical therapy 3 times a week. You ever heard of dry needling?
Yeah, it's interesting that you're doing that.
Super, super interesting in a really sucky kind of way. It's doing some good, but the other thing that I did this winter was I bought eClean magazine, and so it'll be a bit of a struggle for a year, probably a year and a half at the minimum, but my goal is to transition over into just doing those 2 things. I got a couple other things I do.
Well, why don't you?
Well, I know Joe has offered his writing skills to eClean magazine. I think that you should instead use me because I pronounce wash and I spell it WASH. I don't add an R in there.
How you spell it?
WASH. I don't know WARSHS's. I don't spell it like that.
So Mark, I think you mentioned that you had anyway. So for that business, I don't know. I think what I'm going to do is, I think I'm going to sell it. So.
Yeah, you
and Mark both are like advanced in your ages, gentlemen, and you're both having needles stuck in your arms. And
I'm tired of this shit.
Well,
it's working for you guys, though, isn't it?
Let me tell you. Let me tell you. For me, I did 10 years of high rise work before. Even after I hired someone, I was doing it. I worked for another company for 5 years, and then I did it for myself for the first 10 years. So that's 15 years. And Kaz Nocha can tell you, the window cleaning business is physical, obviously. When you're cleaning a big place or using a water-fed pole or even pressure washing, you're dragging hoses and everything. Right. But, on certain buildings that we were doing, you'd have to carry 250 pounds of weight up 3 flights of stairs to get it to the roof for your equipment, and breaking it down and taking it. I mean, it was taxing, even though I was younger.
I don't think people realize that, and I didn't realize either, but, we used to do this 4-story building downtown, and this is to add to Mark's story. I don't know if any of you guys have ever carried that fucking rope up any stairs at all, but he used to have this small gray trash can with a lid on it, and that's what he used to rope his, coil his rope up into.
Spool it up, yep.
And he's like, hey man, he's like, will you carry that rope? You're a big guy, carry that rope up the stairs for me. I'm like, okay. Yeah. And I was like, all right, I'll just carry the rope. I grabbed that thing. I'm like, you carry this? He's like, oh yeah. He goes, that motherfuckers won't let me use the elevator. You know what I mean? So, they, all that rope is fucking super heavy, man.
Dude, let me tell you, some of the accounts to this day, my guys, I have 4 buildings, all walking distance from each other. They all go 4 times a year. So they're literally in each one once a month for the most part, rotationally. They will finish one, bring the equipment. Like, let's say they only have 4 drops to do, so they're done at lunchtime. The rest of the day is spent hauling that shit across the street up to the roof, and they're not going to do anything else but rig the job, and it's intense. And if you have to do that before you start working, you're tired before you climb over the wall.
Yeah, I mean, and not only are you going through all that physically, but you got to make sure you're on point mentally because it's got to be fucking safe too. So that's double taxing. You know what I mean?
It's not something you do tired.
Yeah,
it's not something you do hungover.
No, right.
Well, some guys probably.
Let's be honest.
You got to be in a zone.
So the acupuncture, you pretty much said straight up, it's pretty much healed you.
Well,
it healed
about
me.
60%. Oh, you talking about me or Mark?
Yeah. Go ahead, Thad. You're dry needling.
You're dry needling.
You said acupuncture, and my question to you was, how far do they stick a needle in for the acupuncture? And you're like, oh, they put the little tube on and they pump it and it goes.
Yes.
Yeah. For dry needling, he takes the thing and he bumps it, and then he takes it and starts doing this and jams it all in there.
So what does that? So what does that do? Does that build
it in there?
Is it scar tissue?
Huh?
Are they trying to create scar tissue?
Yeah. Yeah. So that this doesn't completely separate.
No shit. So what you're trying to do is avoid surgery.
This will all just be black.
Wow.
And then the next time I go, he has to massage that out so I don't get like blood clots or whatever.
So
and then he'll take them. And he'll just dig in and find every place that something is separated, and there'll be a knife there that is incredible. And wherever he finds one that makes me go like a little, when he touches it, he sticks a needle about that far in there, and he'll do about 6 of those, and then hook it up to a machine that sends electrical pulses through it.
So is that to avoid surgery or your arms?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah. I'm trying. Trying to avoid.
You're
surgery.
You're trying to avoid an actual a physical reattachment. You're trying to
trying to get that to not completely.
Dude, that's crazy.
Come loose.
Yeah.
I don't think people. I don't think a lot of people appreciate the amount of abuse that repetitive motion does to their bodies. You know what I mean?
I didn't.
Right.
I didn't. And now that I'm doing, like, as I'm progressing in physical therapy, I'm starting to do these other exercises, and I found out, like, it's on the outside of this elbow, it's on the inside of this one. I guess because I'm right-handed and working like that. Yeah. And he's like, all right, well, do that too. And then, other stuff along with it. I mean, age, obviously. I'm a spring chicken.
Of course.
Had Lyme a few years ago, and Lyme attacked your connective tissue. Just a lot. Like, it's just time for me to. Did
you jump straight on Lyme? I mean, did you know immediately that you had Lyme disease? Or that you got bit by a tick, or what happened?
It took a little while. I just knew I was not.
So you weren't aware.
And something was wrong, and then I just happened to be like scratching. And I was like, "Huh, what's that?" Well, because the tick, I mean, it was tiny. It was like the size of a dot of an eye.
Uh-huh.
But by the time I figured out, oh, that's a little something different. But there was already a bullseye around it, and that was starting to spread. And
dude. I'm going to tell you right now. You got to look into it. But that's listen. That's a government. That's a government disease. Lyme disease. That they made that shit. They created that, bro. Look into it.
Okay. Yeah.
What?
Things that you know. I didn't know Lyme.
Dude, oh yeah, man, that was created, man. We gotta look
I've
into
heard
it.
that too. It was created in a lab. I've heard that. I think it's for control of animals.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard that too. I don't think that's a myth.
They made that to control deer population, and it's spread like wildfire. Now people are getting Lyme disease and more Morgellons from it and stuff. I'm telling you, bro. You have fibers growing out of your skin, Thad? Have you turned into Swamp Thing at all, ever?
The fly.
No.
We've had this discussion. You don't fucking believe in Bigfoot, so that's a problem for me. I mean, that's not good. You know what I mean? But, whatever. We all have our shortcomings in life, and that just happens to be Thad's. He doesn't believe in Bigfoot. It's okay. It's okay.
Well, you probably understand that the government's created coronavirus too, right?
Oh, so, yeah, they totally did that, man.
Well, there's another one going around. Here, let me add to your conspiracy theory. Because I went to Savannah and I came back and I had like a upper respiratory thing. Down here in the South, they call it the crud. It's like every year it goes around. It's just like an upper respiratory infection. I'm like, oh, geez, I got the crud. It kept getting worse and worse and worse. And pretty much I spent pretty much the month of February flat on my back. Like I couldn't breathe. The doctor's like, I don't know what he's like. It's some sort of influenza. I don't know what it is. You haven't traveled, have you? Like, well, yeah. And he starts him and the nurse are like backing up. And yeah, I mean, I was like, I was as sick as I've been as an adult. I was scared. Like I got scared sick. I'm like, geez, this ain't getting better.
No shit.
This is not getting better. I ended up going back. I developed some sort of secondary bacterial infection. But they put me on the same antibiotics that they give people who catch the Black Plague.
Wow.
That almost killed me, man. They had those things.
Well, I remember you were. I remember.
Can you see that? I don't know. Can you still? Is that showing up at all?
Yeah. What the fuck did you? What'd you do there?
Yeah, it's kind of cut in half, and then I'm all scraped because a couple different times, man. I'm like just getting up and staggering in the back. I get to the bathroom, try to take a piss, and just completely black out. One time I did it in the bathroom. I scraped everything up. Next time I made it all the way back to the bed and woke up head down in between the bed and the bedside table with my ear bleeding all over the place and just completely blacking out. It's been rough, man.
Hey, Thad.
Really
Thad, when we meet again over at the Huge, if I don't even want to fist bump you, please don't be offended.
No. I'm going to grab you. I'm going to
You guys are going to have to go ahead without me for a second. I'll be back.
If I can bend, I'm kind of stiff, but if I can bend over that far.
Yeah.
And that was what, in the month of February? It was this past month? Is that what you were saying?
Yeah. We were Mark and I were at IWCA end of January and started not like I was home for a couple of days and started not feeling well and just kept getting just on and on and on. And I'm still pretty puny, as they say down here. Yeah.
Well, it might be actually time to. How old are your sons?
26 and 25.
It might be time to start relinquishing the heavy lifting to them, and do more of managerial.
Well, one of them worked with me a little bit. Didn't work out at all. The other one worked with me for 10 years, but has no interest whatsoever in continuing the business.
Really?
He just wants to work for somebody else. Just show up, get a paycheck, come home. So my hope, that was my goal. I mean, that was honestly why I was doing the thing. I was thinking I was going to pass it on and do exactly what you're talking about. Didn't work out that way. So,
Mark, does your son have any interest? Your oldest?
No. Well, my oldest, no. He worked a couple summers for me, and he thinks it's hard work. And I would put him with the route guy. So he's out washing storefronts. And he's a good window cleaner. But as of right now, he's not really interested in it. The younger one, he works every time that he's got, he's still in school. So he works every time that there's a teacher's birthday or whatever. He goes out with the route guy. And he's really good as well. But so that's why, in my mind, I've always like Thad, I'm sure you know, though your boys don't want to get involved, part of the exit strategy is to wait at least until they're either career oriented or whatever before I lay back a little bit,
I thought I had it all figured out. I mean, because my middle son that worked with me, I mean, he did it for 10 years. He did awesome work. I even sent him to work with other people, and they're like, "My God, he can run it!" Like, I didn't even need to be there. He could run the whole job. Customers love him. The whole thing. I don't know. I mean,
well, sometimes
he says he did it for 10 years and he hates it and he doesn't want to do it. So there, so my plan for those 10 years went right down the tube.
Yeah.
What can you do? Tell somebody they got to do something?
Well,
right.
Don't count. I mean, I don't know how long it's been since that, but I'm going to tell you, when I worked for my father for about 5 years, and he had 5 partners. They split the company up, which I was me and another guy were the only employees, and it basically left me and the other guy out of a job because everybody took their piece of work and went on their own.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a learning experience for me because I'll admit I was a fuck off. I was a fuck off. I was given the keys to a new truck and a list of work and go do what you got to do and collect your work. And, I was 20 years old, and when that happened to me, I've never been without work, not for more than a few days. So I got a job doing car alarms back before car alarms came with it. And I like that. It's technical. And it was boring as fuck. And then I got a job. A buddy of mine had a landscaping company. So I learned, run a bobcat and put trees in the ground. That was cool. I did that for about a year. But there wasn't a day halfway into that 6 months that I wasn't saying to myself, I want to clean windows again. You know what I'm saying? I want to learn more. I want to do the building work. I want to learn how to do all these different things. And I realized at that point that I had it pretty good, and I fucked up, So, when I left that, I went into window cleaning for another company for about 4 years, and then my father got sick, so I went back to work with him. So don't ever count him out. They might need to do a few other things.
You can't take that knowledge away. He has the experience. He's been to several. He's been to several conventions and I made him like, okay, show me which classes you're going to take. Show me your notes when you're done. So that's there. Like that education and those physical skills are there. And at some point, he'll for whatever, he'll get married or he'll want a Ferrari or whatever. For some reason, it's all right there. All he's got to do is, just
utilize it.
I mean, I'm pretty good on the marketing end of things. Like if he'd have said, hey, you know what, I'm ready to go, I can get him booked out.
Yeah.
Pretty quick.
Yeah.
Elena came to me last night wanting a job.
Yeah.
Yeah, my middle child.
She works at Target, right?
Yeah, she works at Target. Yeah.
How old?
She's 17. Came to me and wanting to she's like, I don't know if I want to do it part time, but will you hire me part time? Instead of full time.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I want to do it full time. And I was like, sure. I'm not going to tell you no. But if you think you're coming out to work with me, it's going to be like, oh, gravy train. That's not going to happen. I'm going to put you to it. You know what I mean? So I was kind of cool. I'm looking forward to it, to be honest with you. I'm looking forward to it, taking her out. I'm actually like hype about it. I'm excited. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, let me put it this way. You're going to teach her a skill, even if she doesn't do it right now.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna teach her a skill that she can get dropped off pretty much anywhere in the world with
and get a job
in her pocket,
right?
And have a place to stay and some food that night,
right?
Yep.
And live a decent life.
Yeah.
Pretty quickly.
Right.
It's like the famous quote from the Ettore guy says, "You can drop me off in any major city with a squeegee and a pole," and he's like, "I'll feed myself."
I'll feed myself. Yeah.
I'll have a room. I'll have a room I'll feed myself. I'll have a room for the night and a plane ticket home.
I'll never get on the Forbes list, but I'll make a living.
Right. And that's and this is the way I look at it. Even if she doesn't become a full-time window cleaner, she could at least learn the ropes of the business and fucking run the motherfucker one day if she wanted to. You know what I mean? It doesn't have to. At least, because I believe you got to at least know what's going on to do this business. You have to know what's going on, whether it be pressure washing.
You got to have some time in the trenches.
Yeah, you got whether it's pressure washing or window cleaning. You need to know the ropes of the business and how it should operate properly before you hop into the business. I see a lot of young entrepreneurs. They're like, I want to jump straight in, feet first, and there are some people that can do that. But but not everyone can do that. You know what I mean? I feel like a lot of people need to learn what they're doing before they just jump right in with both feet. Because you see tools for sale all the time. Go ahead, Seth.
Oh, I think it gets ingrained in you, especially you brought up Elena. My dad, when I was a kid, most of my life owned a carpet cleaning business, did mostly hotels and chains like that. And we used to go with him for 3 or 4 days. You know, he had 3 or 4 different states he worked in. And when I was a kid, I would go with him, and I'm like, oh, man, it's cool. Dad makes his own hours. He does his own thing, doesn't answer to his own boss. Like, I knew pretty quickly that I, like, was never going to work for someone. I hated carpet cleaning. My dad was, like, adamant that I wanted to do that, but I learned pretty quick, though, that, like, I wanted to do my own thing.
Dude, I didn't get it. I didn't get it. When I first cleaned windows, I was like, dude, I don't get this. You know what I mean? And I just asked Jason, I asked Jeremy, I'm like, you know, is your brother, like, doing this just, like, for what? He's like, well, this is all we do. I was like, this is all you guys do?
Yeah.
He's like, yeah. I was like, you guys don't have other jobs? He's like, no, this is what I do. I'm like, oh. I didn't see the money. I didn't see it. And then, you know, after doing, going and helping them on a couple of jobs, I'm like, shit. There is money, because if you can afford to give me this for the little that I know, there's got to be a little bit of money in this, you know what I mean? And the more I got to know what was going on, I was like, man, you could actually make some money doing this, because I didn't ever realize that, you know, there's actually people that pay you to come to their house to clean their windows. I didn't realize that. I could see, you know, going and doing a commercial restaurant or, you know, a water park or something like that. That made sense. But when he's like, yo, people have their houses done, I'm like, what? I couldn't believe it. I was like, because I grew up in a ranch and we cleaned our own windows, you know what I mean? With Windex.
Yeah.
So that part of the business never dawned on me, you know what I mean? So.
And that's one thing that I did that, you know, I can definitely say that I gave my kids is the concept that you don't have to get a job and work for someone and accept what you're offered, and that's all. Because that's all I knew. I mean, like my grandpa had, you know, he bought a grocery store when he retired, but, you know, it was just, that was kind of a weird thing. But like my dad and everybody, it was just, you know, you get a job, you work hard, and you stay there, and then you retire. And that's the thing, like, just how good of a job can you get? Whether it's, you know, you're a doctor working for a hospital, or you're, you know, washing windows, you know, pumping gas at the gas station. But you get a job, you work for someone, you take what they give you, and that's all I do. And you know, I was in my 30s before I ever got over that concept. So
I remember one thing.
My kids is that you can do something on your own.
Right.
Whatever it is, you can make some money doing it. Whatever it is you're interested in.
Yeah.
Nowadays there's a way to make money doing it.
So
small business is not for everybody. I mean, but you know, the one thing my father would tell me was when I worked for him, and then eventually went back to work with him, and we built a nice business before I went on my own, and it's always stuck with me. He says, once you do this, whether it's window cleaning or anything, or carpet cleaning, or, you know, for yourself, it's very hard to go work for somebody, because you're calling the shots, and you might make a lot of mistakes. It might cost you a lot of money. It might cost you, you know, to start your business up over again. But it's very hard to take orders after you've been making the decisions, unless it's totally not for you.
Yeah, right. For sure. And I mean, and 90% of it, just from what I've noticed, maybe 80% of it is just getting out there and doing it, getting out of bed and going and doing it. That's 80% of it right there.
Well, self-motivation.
Yeah, that's 80% of it right there.
And you got to be cut out for it too. Like I remember being in 8th grade, my dad looked at me in the face and goes, "You're not going to work for somebody." He's like, you barely can do school. Yeah. He's like, you're going to go to Voc, you're going to learn a trade, and you're going to open your own business.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That part of it didn't happen, but my dad knew pretty quick, looking at me, like being like, you're not cut out for that.
Right. My grandfather told me the same thing when I was younger. He said, you're going to find it really hard to work for somebody and take orders. He goes, because every time I tell you to do something, you second guess the way I'm telling you to do it. Like, I couldn't, you know what I mean? I always learned the hard way every time. Like, I would do it my way, and then I had to go back and do it the right way. You know what I'm saying? It took a long time for me to understand that, you know, I need to get out of my own way. You know what I mean? I'm just getting in my own way. You know what I mean? And finally, you know, he was right. after all those years, you know, and he pushed me. They pushed me. My grandparents both did. They were really supportive of me. They're like, you need to go out on your own and do this. You got the skills to pay the bills. You know what I mean? My grandparents wanted me to start. They wanted me to do home improvement. They wanted me to build houses. They were like, that you're really good at it. That's what you should do. And as good as I was at doing that, it became a chore to me. Like, I had no enjoyment in it anymore. I just had been soiled on it. You know what I mean? Just a lot of bad employment experiences. You know what I mean? And construction is a pain in the ass. Jason Lehman knows this. Construction is building a home. That's a lot to deal with. Squeegee, I am 40 years old. I'll be 41 this June. You know what I mean? So I've done a lot of things, you know what I mean, in my life, believe it or not. I've had a lot of different jobs in that life, in that span, you know what I mean? I've done a lot of things. So
yeah, I was way different. I was a great employee.
Really?
I really was. Like, I was cooperative, I was effective, I always did, like, showed up early, overproduced. I was a great employee. But nobody could, it's like, yeah, I'd be a great employee, and then always came around that you got screwed somehow. Yeah. I can't tell you how many companies I worked for. I was doing great, and then they outline this amazing, exciting new compensation plan. They just totally screwed me. Or even working for people directly. And it's just like they just couldn't help themselves. They're like, oh, okay, well, this is going great. You're making money. You're making me money. Let me screw this up and try to stick it to you somehow.
Right.
And I just got to the point where, like, I'm just not ever going to have. I'm not going to be in a situation to have someone in position to stick it to you.
Yeah, I worked for a couple window cleaning companies before I went back with my dad, and then eventually, like I said, on my own. And I worked for a guy that basically, he bought up a couple companies, and he was, in his mind, he's the most successful around. And, well, if you've got money from somewhere, you can buy up all that you want. That doesn't make you successful, in my opinion. Right. If you build a business from nothing, that's success. Right. But I worked for him for many years, and about the second year in, he gave me $100 Christmas bonus, I remember. And I said, and him and I used to clash all the time. Because I don't like big shots. I'm not a big shot. I'm your employee making $7 an hour here, but you're also not going to talk to me or talk down to me, because I will fucking verbally mop the floor with your fat fuck. Right? So he comes to me a few days after Christmas, and it was like the second year I worked for him, so he gave me $100, and I remember he comes back to me and he says, "Listen, we're changing the bonus structure." I go, "What bonus? Christmas bonus?" He goes, "Yeah." So he gives me a list on this street where he wanted to build his route. For every account you pick up, you get 2 points, right? On this street, you get 1 point. And at the end of the year, you get $1 for each point. So you could potentially go out and get a $300 or $400 or $500 Christmas bonus. And I thought about it for a second, and I looked at him in the face, and I go, "Listen to me. If I don't make you enough money during the year, showing up 5 and 6 days a week, off hours, dealing with the problems, collecting from customers that don't want to pay, people that you said something wrong to, or saving a job because you ran your mouth," I go, "if I don't do enough of that I haven't earned that $100, I'll give it right fuck back to you right now. But if you think that I'm going to build your business, so potentially I get 2 points, $2 for every job on this road I pick up. At the end of the year, if I pick up 50 jobs, you give me $100. So in other words, you're going to get another $500 a month. I'm going to work harder, and you're giving me $100. That doesn't work for me." I said, "So you can keep the Christmas bonus, and I don't want no part. You pay me a commission? Give me 3 times what the job pays. 3 times. The job pays $50, you give me $150. Give me the first 3 collections. I don't care.
Right.
But I'm not going to build your business."
Listen, man, I had a guy I worked for like 3 or 4 years building homes call me on Christmas morning and fucking fire me.
Yeah, really?
Yeah. On Christmas morning. Like, I went to his house the morning before after we...
Is that farting? Wait a minute. Give me the phone.
after we finished shingling and drying this house in. We shingled it. We got all the trusses put up, sheeted it 2 days before Christmas Eve. Then we went out the day before Christmas Eve, which was I think I don't know what we weren't. It was a shitty day. It was cold. It was snowing. Felt it in, tarred, the whole thing. Shot all the shingles on. Went to his house on Christmas Eve in the morning. He gave me a Carhartt jacket. It wasn't a Carhartt jacket. It was a faux heart jacket. It wasn't even a real Carhartt jacket with my name on it and his company name on the back. And I was like, oh, cool. No $25 in cash, which was absolutely crazy. I went home, woke up Christmas morning, fired me Christmas morning. He's like, I'm going to let all you guys go. You know what I mean?
Man.
Yeah. After, and I saved this dude thousands of dollars, man. He had...
You made him thousands of dollars.
Yeah, no. The job that I worked on, that job that we were working on, I showed up. It was a 20 by 40 brick addition, like a poured concrete wall addition on the back of this shitty house. And he had, and Jason will know exactly what I'm talking about. He had 2 by 12 floor joists, not structural joists, but just regular 2 by 12s on like 2-foot centers. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Across this span, which is like, that's no. You can't.
It should be 18
inches. Yeah. There's yeah. We had plywood spacers between the beam and the joist, which you're not supposed to have that. You're supposed to have a hardwood spacer because the wood on the beam will it'll smash it over time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Completely, he couldn't even cut stair stringers. He could not run a set of stair gauges to save his life. So, he tried like 5 times to build these stairs. One time, just let me do it for you. He would let me do it for him. But, fired me on fucking Christmas, man.
Dude, that same guy that I worked for, he used to go, when I was your age washing windows in New York, I could have mopped this floor with you. And I'm like, I'd wash them. He would go to a vacant mall. We had a vacant mall. We did it wasn't a vacant mall, but we did all the vacant stores, I should say, which was like 50% of the retail stores there. So it was like 25 jobs. We used to do it once a month. I'd call him up and go, hey, you want me to take care of that today? He's like, no, I already took care of it. We'd get there the next month. There would be triangles in the middle of every single window. It looks like a jellyfish, but a triangular jellyfish that's dry. And I used to go, I'd go, hey, we fixed all your holiday decorations. He's like, what are you talking about? And I told him, that comes from nothing but a window cleaner. And he goes, I told you, man. He goes, I would mop the floor with you. When I go, dude, you owned a fucking bread route. You ain't never cleaned a fucking window in your life. You're the first fucking window cleaner I've ever seen.
Mark is terrible. He can't even close out right. I don't know why he's talking shit. I got it on video. Listen, I cut out a lot of fucking mistakes. I got to tell you.
Fucking weeping like holy shit.
Captain Drippy, this guy missed the spot over
There's
here.
nothing better than working with another window cleaner to have
bust
your
their
ego
balls.
Yeah.
He's got all these excuses. I'm not used to the tools. It's closed.
I worked for this guy. I worked for this guy on a Saturday. We go up to this office building. We pull in there. We got a 40-foot ladder on the rack, a 28-foot ladder, some section ladders, and our buckets, right? So you never knew what you were going to get when you worked with this guy because not that he didn't know what he was doing, but for the most part he didn't know. Now that I know as much as I do doing building work, this fucking guy doesn't know anything. We'd get there and I'd be like, so we pull up there, it's a 4-story office building, right? And I go, now we didn't have water-fed poles at the time. This was before all that shit was popular. There was Tucker Brush, but there was no, he used to go, they're not paying for Tucker Brush, they're paying for clean windows. So whatever. We pull up there, I go, we get out of the truck and I'd look up at the job and I go, how are we planning to do the 4th floor? Or are we only going to do 3, 2, and 1 here? And he goes, no, we're going to do it. We got the 40. I go, that's a 36-foot ladder. And then you pull it 6, 8 foot off the wall. I go, we ain't even going to reach the bottom of that top window.
Right.
So he goes, oh, no, it'll reach. I've already measured it, right? So we humped the 40 out. We set it up. That bitch is just where I said it. 6 foot below the fucking window, right? Then
and we know you're not reaching that shit.
No, absolutely not.
He even came halfway to the middle.
And he lays the ladder down. This is no lie. I've said this before. Same story because it ain't a lie. Motherfucker took the headpiece of a piece ladder, tied the rungs to the top of the 40, pulled that motherfucker up, and it laid on the building like this and then went like this. And I go, I'll tell you what. I said, you go. And this guy was like 350 pounds. I go, you climb that motherfucker first and wash a window, and I'll do every other one, but I ain't climbing that motherfucker.
Oh, no.
You scurry on up there.
Yeah, what? Dude, some of the shit, man. Guy the guy I was talking about, Randy, that gave me my 0 degree squeegee, that dude would walk out on ledges at that water park with no ropes, no safety line, just walk the beam out. Like it, just walk, pull his washer out of his back pocket, get the window wet, stand on his tippy toes, do the window all the way down, and walk back over. Like it, I'm just like, dude, that is the most unsafest thing in the entire fucking world, dude. And we're like 2.5, 3 stories in the fucking air, man. This isn't. I'm not talking like 10 feet off the ground. I'm like, we're in the air. He come off a staircase and did that shit. I'm like, dude, what is the matter with you? I couldn't even watch. I couldn't watch. As soon as he got out on that beam, I just walked down the stairs. He's like, where are you going? I was like, down here to give you CPR, you stupid motherfucker. Just in case. I'll try to catch you. Yeah.
I remember my brother started working for the company I was working for, and we were doing brownstones in Boston. And brownstones have big open ledges, like maybe 2.5 feet. Mm-hmm. And we're on the 6th floor, and I'm cleaning on one side, the kitchen windows. I'm pushing them down, and I'm reaching out the top and cleaning them. And I look across, and he's standing out on the ledge with the window closed. No tie-offs, nothing, cleaning the window. And I'm trying not to have like a heart attack watching him do it. And I'm like, yeah, all right, great. He walked in the window. I'm like, if I ever see you climb out on the
yeah. Dude.
And he's trying to close out, and I'm watching him like scurry around up the
I told John, I called John. Yeah. I called John halfway down the stairs like, this motherfucker has just walked out on the ledge here. He's like, what do you mean? I was like, he walked out on the ledge. He's like, what's he tied off to? I was like, nothing. He's up there right now. He's like, I'm going to call him. I was like, don't call him right now.
Yeah, leave him up. Just when he gets down, don't remember to do that again.
Yeah.
Dude, it was the craziest shit I've ever seen, dude. I've never seen nothing like, and he was completely fearless.
Those are the ones you got to watch for.
I mean, he doesn't do it anymore. He does something else now for a living. But man, that dude was he was original gangster. He was like, I know the flip flops up the ladder thing is, everybody think that's crazy. You know what I mean? And I love Frank Rave. I want him to come on the podcast, but. Yeah. Listen, man, this motherfucker walked out on this ledge with no ropes, dog. He just climbed over. He had his washer in his back pocket, and instead of putting a handle in, he stuck the wet mop in the whole, in there. He's like, well, I was like, why? He's like, I don't want to drop it, because then what's the sense of coming all the way out here?
Yeah, I have a building that has a 90-foot high atrium. At the 80-foot, it's wide open, like you're talking about the hotel.
Yeah.
40 stories, but this is 90 feet to the peak of it has a glass ceiling, and then there's an I-beam that runs around, and everything sits on that I-beam. So on that I-beam, it has hoops, and then there's lighting on that pointing down into the lobby. So like half the bulbs were blown out, and one day they came to me and said, "Is that something you guys can do?" And there's a little hatch to open up to climb out on the beam. And I look at it, and it's about a foot wide. And I go, we can do it, but we're going to put a rope. We're going to go out here with an older piece of rope and weave it between the beams. You hardly see it, so that we can stay attached at all points. The only dangerous part was installing the rope the first time. You understand? But we still had it tied back, and we tied off to it. So we'd go out there, and the rope sits about 3 feet high. So you literally take a short lanyard on your harness, clip it on, climb on the beam. The first 10 feet are the worst. After that, you're going to get used to it, and you can sit down. You have to sit down on the beam and then grab the lights, pivot them up, change the bulb.
Listen, Mark.
And we have a...
Listen. No.
My balls are listening to this story.
Nope.
No. Listen, Mark. Listen. No, Mark. No, Mark. No.
I'm just going to play clips of from now on.
No, you finished. Dude, that's the crazy. Dude, that's... So how often did you guys do that? How often did you guys have to get up there?
Well,
just like.
Well, about 2 years ago, honestly, we changed all the lighting fixtures out to LED, and they haven't had a failure in 2 years. But the original lights were like car headlamps. They literally look like an old school glass car headlight. So we'd go up there with 2 buckets, one bucket with new bulbs, one bucket with the old bulbs, right? And you did them in sections, you know, because you could only carry so many bulbs. Right. So one time I'm on that beam, I'm sitting down, I got my other guy, Jason, he's bringing more bulbs, and I feel the beam move a little bit, you know, because when you walk on it, it moves. You know, I mean, it's a 60-foot span. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I turn around, and this guy, Hector, who is one of the engineers at the building, he's walking out on the beam. No harness. He's holding the rope. He's holding the rope like this as he walks by. So I go, what the fuck are you doing? And he goes, they hired me because they don't want you out here anymore. I go, if you fall, I go, you got fucking kids. Get the fuck off this beam. Yeah. He goes, it's not a problem for me. I go, I obviously think it's not a problem. I'm not impressed. Get the fuck off the beam now. Right. You know? But do shit like that.
Dude, I tried to shame him. I tried to shame him before he went out there. It's like, dude, you got a kid, man. He's like, oh, this ain't, no, I'm fine. I'm like, dude, all right. Yeah. Okay, bro. I stood by the lawn chairs. I stood by the lawn chairs, and I figured if worst case scenario, I could maybe slide a lawn chair under him real quick, and he'd like hit that first, and like lessen the impact of the straight concrete.
You would die on the lawn chair.
Yeah.
That's better way.
I want him to be comfortable. I want him to be comfortable.
Yeah, you know, you're looking out.
Yeah, looking out for the guy. So, Thad, it's almost been 2 hours. We're out an hour and 47 minutes.
Has it really?
Here. Yeah. I mean, it doesn't seem like it when you're talking about nothing.
Yeah.
I'm wondering, is there anything that you want to talk about before we get off of here? Anything you want to say before we go? Or do you think you've pretty much covered it all?
I think I've blown my wad. I mean, the only couple of things I could possibly mention would be a horrible idea to say anything about, and Chris would be mad at me. So I think we'll let it go. Mr. Respectable does not let me have any fun anymore.
Oh, I don't know about that. I don't know, man. I think.
So let me ask you. I'm going to ask you something. Yeah. Okay. You organize the huge convention, right?
Yeah.
You do all the legwork, all the all the work to put it together. Are you employed by WCR, or are you just do that?
WCR is just a vendor at the show. Just like I have more than one business, Chris has more than one business. So
okay.
He and Alex are partners in WCR. Chris and I are partners in the convention. It is a freestanding LLP, completely separate, tax ID number, the whole thing. Yeah. So I was a customer with WCR. Then I got to be friends with Chris and Alex after that. But yeah, people get really confused about that because they call WCR with questions about the convention, and they do the best they can, but it's not a WCR thing. It's
your entity. Well, it's its own entity. But see, that's why I asked.
Chris thing, but
because
you're the one that's making the millions of dollars by putting on this huge convention. All the doll hairs, you're making them.
All the doll
hairs. I just was wondering because I don't troll anybody's page. I did look at your page, honestly, Thad.
Which page?
Your Facebook page this afternoon to make this
personal.
To make this interview. Just so I would have some background.
Okay.
That's a little bit of show prep that occasionally we do, but when we have someone I don't really know on. But yeah, in meeting you, and you were introduced to me as this is the guy that puts on the huge convention, I really thought that was your job, was to put on.
I was employed.
Well, not necessarily employed by WCR, but that was your job. Like, there's people that organize events. That's their job. So.
Right.
I would. Do you do other events other than the huge, or it's just pretty much that one?
No, just the huge. I have done other events in the past, but right now my focus is just on the huge. And like I said, it's a bit of a transition right now. But with what we have laid out to do with in the next few years, then it'll be worth it. And like right now, I don't really. Right, it's almost a full-time job, but not quite. but at some point you have to fall back and regroup. So I've dedicated that much time to it because it's important, and I'm going to need that. So in a bit of a transition right now, but like I said, I'm doing the magazine. I got a couple other things I do around here, just to make some money. But my main focus is on Huge because that's the most significant thing that I'm doing right now.
I think you should start a Facebook page called Thad Knows and do live videos. No?
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing a Thad video 3 times a day, 7 days a week.
Oh, I could probably, I mean, do 4 or 5. Just like do 2 an hour.
Right.
12 hours a day.
Well, I want to say this.
Hopefully somebody will watch the thing.
Yeah, I want to say this the next time we have you on, because I would love to have you on again. You know what I mean? Because you're
right before
really
the convention. We should have him on.
Yeah, that would be cool. If you've got the time, but hopefully you don't do 3 shows beforehand, so you got more shit to say. And I don't want to. I mean, we talk everything you're on. You've got to talk about it. I feel bad having to talk to you about it. Even after we said we're going to try to avoid it, but we still talk about it. It's really hard not to talk about.
You're I know, but I mean, it didn't work out exactly the way that I planned. But I also think too is 3 pretty diverse audiences, and also 3 completely different subject matters too.
Oh, yeah.
Like one just my personal finances and lots of prime information. The other one was just talking about. Like with Bobby, he was like, "No, I want to talk about the convention." So
right.
I was okay, and then you guys were like, "Yeah, we don't want to talk about the convention at all," which is awesome to me. Like, then I can relax.
Right. Excuse me, Thad. Excuse me, Thad. One more question. Okay. Credit score.
Listen, Thad, if you haven't noticed, Mark is really bad at following directions. So when you try to game plan for one of these, and Mark's like, "Yeah, okay, yeah, we'll do that," and then he'll get on, and then he'll be like, "Well, let's talk about that stuff." We're talking about other stuff.
Really, the only game plan was that I didn't want to just come here and this be a huge commercial. Like I just wanted to hang out with guys,
you got Jersey for that. Jersey can do all the huge commercials. That's what he's
right because he's good at it.
He's really good at it.
He does.
He's smart. He's smooth.
Yeah.
He does.
Jersey's super slick. Yeah.
We're here.
Honestly,
sorry.
No, go ahead.
Oh, Thad, I had also heard that you have quite the background in like old school punk and hardcore music too, as well. I don't know. I heard that from someone a little bit that you might have been into that as well.
Yeah, I like that stuff.
That Seth is.
That's in my wheelhouse.
That's Seth's thing. Yeah, that's Seth's thing is.
Hey, Thad, how far are you from Macomb, Mississippi?
Probably like an hour and a half.
That's where the Skinner plane went down. You need to go visit the crash site for me.
Okay.
On the way.
Yeah. I'll go. I'll make sure I get to that.
I'm sure they're
dead. Well, you know what brought the plane down, don't you?
They ran out of fuel.
Bigfoot.
Yeah, it was a Bigfoot.
Yes. Good answer.
The government. The coronavirus.
The government, man. It was the government. Well, what had happened was they turned around and went and had to wash some windows on the front of it, and then they turned around and went down. You know what I mean? You notice that's Joe's caveat to every other sentence, is then they turned around and went. I fucking love Joe. He's the best, dude. He turned around and went washing some windows, buddy. Joe always asks the most awkward fucking questions. You know what I mean? It's like, bro, why do you always want to talk about shit we don't want to talk about, bro?
Yeah. Well, look, I'd like to think at the end of this podcast,
everybody's got to make their mark somehow.
Yeah. Joe just happens to make his in his pants.
I honestly...
Number 2, am I a troll?
Number 2, am I a troll? I don't know.
I'd like to think at the end of the podcast, though, we did delve into the huge. I mean, but we know a lot more about you and the way you roll. So that's what it's about.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, I appreciate it. I had a good time.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me on.
We enjoyed having you on. If you guys want, you can go to www.patreon.com/Squeegee Life. You can become a Patreon member. We thank you guys for watching. If you guys want to, you should go to the huge convention. It's pretty cool. You might see Thad there. He's not going to talk to you, so don't get all fucking bent out of shape. Like, oh man, Thad didn't say shit to me, dude. You know what I mean? Like I did.
Not really, if you go to thehugeconvention.com, I mean, there's videos of past events. There's like all the info is there. You know, like it's kind of redundant for me to come on a show.
And talk about it every time. You guys know where to go.
Yeah, they can check out like if you want to know what it's like, look at some of the videos from the past events. That'll give you a pretty good idea whether they should be. And then look at the reviews. You know, if it'll resonate or it won't. If it doesn't, don't come. If it does, come on.
Yep. All you gotta do is
if you want to hang out with people and drink some beers, it's a good time.
Yeah. So. Or if you want to go there and learn things and go to church on Sunday, you can do that too. Yep. We're all bringing our significant others this year because we feel like that's the right thing to do, because I didn't realize everyone was going to bring their significant others when I went, and then I showed up and everybody's wife's there. I'm like, shit, I should have brought Jen. You know what I mean? I didn't realize. Did you realize that, Seth? I didn't. I show up there, I meet Kevin's wife, I meet, well, of course I meet Luke's wife, I meet Chris's wife, I meet Alex's wife. I meet all these people. You know, I mean, well, geez.
My wife.
Yeah, your wife. I'm like, geez, I probably should have brought Jen. Whoops. You know,
I told you, and you said you didn't want to.
Dude, she's bad news, man. She's not. I'm gonna have to watch her like a hawk. No, she's fun. Yeah, I'm gonna be honest with you. I think she's gonna be. I think she'll be okay because Mrs. Tanner's going, and Richie Blue and Hydrate are going to be there, so they're, she'll have some girls that, she can pal around with, so, it should be a great time, you know what I mean? So,
everybody's welcome. I've been to events where basically it's just like a bachelor party. It's like, let's put on some bogus event and go get drunk in some other town,
right?
And go to
right.
Let's get away from the wild. At the Holiday Inn out by the airport next to the really really scummy strip club.
And this is not
are
that.
Those events out there. That's not.
That's
I don't
not
this.
Do that. Yeah. It's not. It's not
go
that.
To that other event.
I mean, you can find a way to do that if you do go to one. I mean, I'm sure, but it's something for everybody. That's what's cool about it. Not only is the event itself, but the crowd that's drawn there is also for everybody. It's it's wives and husbands. It's some people even bring their kids. You know what I mean? It's it's that kind of event.
You know what? If you're a single guy who's wanting to, I'll just say if you're a guy who's really looking to let your hair down, there will be other guys there that are going to get into some serious shenanigans, and it's in the middle of a major metropolitan area. So, whatever you're looking for.
You'll find it in downtown Atlanta.
So sure. I'm going to stay confined to the hotel and not go anywhere. You know what I mean? Just kind of hide out. You know what I mean? Stay in my room. With my GoPro on my head, just watching what everybody's doing, and whatever. You know what I mean? I'm an introvert myself too. I'm not really big on. That was like the shittiest thing. I was like, man, I'm gonna have to go in here, and Seth knows. I had a lot of anxiety going to this first one. You know what I mean? A lot of anxiety. A lot of anxiety.
I had been to the DC ones before I went to the Branson one, and I told him, I'm like, it's not super high stress at all. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you build up this thing that, like, you're going to be cornered, and it's, like, wide open. If you want to just go to the trade show, you can go to the trade show. You want to go to classes and do all that stuff, you can do that, too. You want to hang out and talk to other window cleaners, that's an option.
Well, it was more for me, it was meeting people. You know what I mean? That was stressful. I was like, man, dude, I'm going to have to talk to people, like, in person.
Yeah. I gotta put a face to the asshole that commented on my post.
What's up, dick?
I told you when I went to IWCA in Orlando a couple years back, and Larry Crook walked right up to me like at a pace, and he goes, "You called me you're Mark Tanner? Yeah, you called me an asshole on Facebook." I took a step back, like, is this guy going to swing or what's going on here? And he goes, I wanted to thank you because you gave me some really good advice. I was making some mistakes with some glass issues I had. I said, no problem, man. It's all good.
Well, dude, it was a great atmosphere, man. It was a really great atmosphere.
The thing too, like, even somebody you've had friction with online, you meet up in person, you talk like people, and you figure out,
you don't say. Well, I was going to Chris and Alex Lamborghini's huge convention after talking shit. Luke, I was meeting Luke and Rhea after. We had a lot of disagreements. You know what I mean? So there was a lot of anxiety there. I was like, man, dude, a lot of shit has been said.
Tattoo on your nipple.
Stop. Wow. Fucking bad. I deserve that. That's cool. You're right. Yeah. There's videos. So they're still out there on the internet. Everybody knows. But it was cool doing that though. It was cool overcoming that because the experience that I had was amazing. You know what I mean? It was a really good time. It was awesome. You do a great job, man. You guys do a great job with that. That's not
we want everybody to feel comfortable, and that's
right.
Everybody's welcome. I mean, it's not.
It's awesome.
It's not a draw a line in the sand.
Yeah, it's a really nice event. You'll meet people that you never know. You could be like Thad and Chris and everybody. 10 years from now, there'd be somebody that you met at the 2020 convention, and you guys are still friends. You know what I mean? You never know where these relationships will take you. They may take you to a podcast where you've done 140 episodes of a podcast. You never know where these things will take you. So you always meet someone cool, and you get to do cool stuff like this and talk about the next cool thing that's going to happen. So we thank you, Thad, for coming on. And we will,
thanks so much.
Yeah, and we will.
Thanks for unblackballing me.
All right, we will. We will check you guys out next Wednesday. So from everyone here at the Squeegee Life podcast, we'll see y'all later. Thank you, Thad. Peace out, man.
Peace.
Later, Thad.